conversation. A couple of them. Number one, you all know who we're talking about, but he is a freaking daredevil. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Yeah, risk taker all the way. Wouldn't you say when we were talking with him, didn't it kind of scare you about all the things that he was doing?
Every time I talk to him, it's just like, oh my God, exactly just like you said.
But you know what? I hear that if he's your personal pilot, he knows how to save you in every condition. So he goes and takes these trainings so that he can be in the best way informed so that he can save or, yeah, I don't know. Like, it was crazy.
He's not only a team elite, but he's also a legendary team elite.
There we go.
He's the founder of OTG One Team Global. He's the master of the master. He created more than 500 million revenues, over the world.
Louder!
Okay. He has more than $20 million circle and 27 years team elite.
Wow, what a great event. What do you think? I tell you what, it's like everybody can feel the new energy, the new excitement, all the new teams, people growing. It's just so powerful, so exciting. Thank you for being here. I hope you feel like it's been worth all the sacrifice and time and money you've spent to be here. Worth it? More than worth it? Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to start off by just saying that we actually do take care of our children a little bit. They're not all in complete debt. Now, it's funny, it's a challenging thing when you're blessed with a lot of money and you can do some great things for your family, and the challenge is not to ruin them, So when we started making money, my wife and I were always just trying to always play like we didn't have any money, like we were poor. Our kids thought we didn't have anything. And so we did that for a while until they started figuring out, growing up and figuring out things were pretty good. And a long time ago, we decided, we told them when they were younger, when they were before 9th grade, we sat them all down and we said, Mom and Dad have been working really hard, and we've set aside $100,000 for each one of you girls. And this is your money, and you will get all that money when you buy your first house, less anything you spend on your education and anything you spend on your wedding. And so, then we had this conversation with them about, so what does that mean? That means you better get focused at school. That means you better start watching what your grades are. Anything less than straight A's is unacceptable. Okay, so straight A's starting 9th grade, 10th, 11th, because all the colleges look at those years of your grades for admissions and for scholarships, right? And you need to start taking the ACT or the SAT, whichever one you guys do in your area, in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. You can take it as many times as you have to because you're going to learn what you need to learn. So you can get those A's and pass your exams and get accepted so you can get scholarships so you don't have to spend your $100,000. And then you need to get jobs while you're in college and work and make money so you can spend as little of your $100,000. And then when it comes to your wedding, maybe you want to think about scaling it down a little bit. Making some of the stuff yourself, being frugal, because it's your money you're spending. And it worked. It's like one of the real keys of the business of how you create this long-term residual stream of money. And you know what? I love toothpaste. I'm loving everything that's happening. I love kind of the repositioning of the whole front end of the business. I love the fact that the barriers of entry are so low, they're basically nothing, right? We'd always think about in the past, what are the objections we get from people? Well, I don't like network marketing, or I don't like sales, or I don't have any money, or I don't have any time. Well, those are all obliterated now, aren't they? I don't like network marketing. Great. Then just do wholesale retail. It's no problem. You can make money right now posting. Okay, just do social media marketing. Great. You know, I hate sales. Great. Then just post. That's all you got to do. It's no big deal. People will come to you. It's like passive. They'll just show up, start buying from you. Okay. I don't have any time. That's good. It only takes 2 minutes. Let's post. Okay. I don't have any money. No problem. It's all self-financing. Don't have to worry about it. You'll have money in your bank before you even place the order. So all the objections are obliterated. There are no reasons not to do it, right? So everybody can jump in and just go for it. And that's why we see this velocity, okay? It's interesting that kind of the technique has changed and it's made a big difference in the front end of the business. But the bottom line is human nature doesn't really change. You know, people say history repeats itself. No, that's not true. Human nature repeats itself over and over again. It's just the same thing all the time. Through every age of time, it's the same thing. Can we be focused? Can we be disciplined? You know, can we move forward in our lives? Are we willing to do the right things, make the right choices? I mean, that's the human nature part of it, right? That is hard. Everybody's got to overcome their own human nature. Everybody's got to master themselves and make changes in themselves to become better and different people. So that part of it is this transition. You know, the front end is so easy now. All the barriers are gone. You can bring in tons of people, but the human nature part doesn't change. Right? It's like we've got to take all these people, this much bigger front end that we have so many more people coming in the business now, and we've got to figure out how we take those people and transition them. And I loved a lot of what Perry has said this weekend. I thought Casey Council's presentation was amazing about transitioning. I loved what Terry too said about the system saving you from yourself, you know, and having just something outside of yourself so it carries on with or without you. I mean, that's the point. When I joined this business, the thing that got me, that recruited me, was when my brother-in-law said, I'm going to make $100,000 a month whether you do it or not. That was the stake in the heart. You know, like, okay, fear of loss. I could hear it in his voice. He was really going to do it. And I'm competitive. And so I thought, okay, I need to get a serious look at this thing, right? And what caught my attention are other things that Craig said. I mean, after all these years, it's been 28 years and a month today, right? 28 years and 1 month today since I joined the business. And, you know, Craig would say these things, and he would say, why do people do this? Why are people going to do it? Okay, he'd say, if you're an entrepreneur, you only care about one thing. You just want the greatest return on your time and energy. It doesn't matter what the vehicle is. You want to find the vehicle that's going to give you the greatest return on your time and energy. Doesn't matter if you're selling airplanes or you're selling garbage services or pantyhose, okay? Give me the vehicle that'll give me the greatest return on my time and energy. And if a person's an entrepreneur, that's a great answer for them. And they go, oh, toothpaste? They go, well, listen, here's the real question. What's going to give you the greatest return on your time and energy? Isn't that what you really care about? You really care about whatever it is? Do you think your job is going to give you the greatest return on your time and energy? I doubt it. So why do we do this business? Freedom, right? That's why we do the business, so we can have freedom and control of our lives. Do the things we want to do when we want to do them. So other people aren't calling the shots and dictating our schedules and telling us when we can take vacations or go to the bathroom. Right? That's why we do this business. And the way that we get that freedom, guys, is that we build these teams. The teams that generate recurring income streams. Money that comes into your bank account every month like clockwork. Money streams that will keep coming to you in your retirement. Money streams that you can't kill. You can't stop them even if you wanted to once you build them. That's what this is really about. It's not about a toothpaste, okay? The toothpaste is fantastic. That's the front end of the whole thing, okay? And there's other great front ends that are on their way, like Power Lips and others, right? But in the end, guys, and a lot of you are here for the first time. You know, it's your first big event, right? And you're maybe just sitting there going, well, really, what is it all about? You've heard half the stories from some of the old dogs like me, right, that have benefited from this. You're watching our children come onto stage and in the business now, and they get it, right? But I'm not sure that you guys get it. Our kids get it because they've done it. They've lived it, right? My kids are jumping on the jet and going places. They're going, this is pretty good lifestyle here, right? But you guys probably don't understand it yet. And it's really a shame if we send you out of here today and you're not clear on this. It's really important you understand this point. This is a different kind of money. It's different than any kind of money you've ever earned. It's different. It's even different than executive commissions. Okay? All that stuff's kind of temporary type income. That's money. You go do something, you get money. You do something, you get money. You know, you build a small team and you can get some money, right? You build an executive team and you can get some money. But if you don't go all the way to Blue Diamond and create power lines and drive these lines, then you won't create this kind of permanent type of money. This is not a salary. It's not a wage. It's not like punching the clock. It's not a commission, okay? It's this stream of money. It's this recurring stream. Most of you don't even know what I'm talking about because you've never had it. You've never even tasted it. And I'm just telling you that once you get it and you taste it and you understand it, you won't settle for anything less. Everything else will just be like, that's brain damage. It's brain damage. Why am I just trading my life away? Why am I punching the clock? Why am I going to that office? You know, you'll even get to the point of, why am I just selling a toothpaste? Because you'll be saying to yourself, I've got to figure out the way to build these streams of money that are secure, that will come in the rest of your life and take care of you for the rest of your days, and then you can pass it on to your children, right? Don't get too anxious, kids. Okay? And so that's the key. All right, let's talk about this. Just to recap, you've seen this slide. You've seen this slide in my other presentation, and you're seeing it today. You saw it from Jeff Mack when he spoke right after myself on Thursday, right? Why do we do it? You know, I don't know about you, but I'm doing it because I wanted to be free. And I kind of had that view right when I started. You may not have that view today. Maybe you've come in because it's fun and you got your own little business and you needed something else to do or you were bored or whatever. That's all great. We're glad you're here. But man, you just like cracked into this 1% of this huge, massive future. This unbelievable future that you can have if you want it. You don't have to do it, obviously, right? But if you want it, it's available. And you just never knew that when you cracked into this little thing with toothpaste or however you came in, that you just tapped into the greatest thing you could ever do financially. And it'll be the greatest thing you could do from a lifestyle point of view and from a relationship point of view with people that you'll meet all over the world. There's so many advantages to what we do here. How do we get that duplication? How do we get that freedom? It's duplication. It's that you have to have a system, right? Casey was exactly right. If you don't order things, place them in order, you got chaos. If Henry Ford wouldn't have come up with the conveyor belt, duplication system to make cars, who knows where we'd be today, right? You got to bring some order and some systemization to things. Otherwise, you're never going to gain the efficiencies. Otherwise, you can never really scale anything. How do you scale something up in a really big way? You got to organize it. It's got to be systematized. And that's why we have a system to help us make it happen, okay? All right, let's talk about this for a moment, because you need to know where the money comes from. And I've said this so many times, if you don't know how to draw the compensation plan, learn how to draw it. There's a real value in sitting down at a restaurant with somebody and taking a piece of paper, and if you can't find one, just take the napkin and draw on it. I've ruined so many cloth napkins in restaurants. And you just draw 2 lines down it like this, and then you talk about the compensation plan. And by the time I finish writing out the compensation plan for most people, they're pretty excited. They get a vision. They catch a different glimpse or a different view of what's possible, okay? Most of you don't even know the whole compensation plan. Most of you are so new that you don't understand what all the pieces are, right? And what you're doing is you're dealing in this piece alone. If all you've done is post and you've started to build a small team, you're mostly just in this piece right here on the front end of the plan. I want you to know that I received my $20 million pin in 2004, I think it was, when I got my $20 million recognition. So you can imagine I made a little bit more money since then, right? And as I stopped and I did the math in those days, when I got that, I went home that next week and I tried to figure out how many times had I drawn the compensation plan. How many times did I do those 2 lines and fill in all those little squares and stuff, and explain it to people. And I figured I'd done it about 10,000 times. And I took 20 million and divided it by 10,000. I realized I made $2,000 every time I drew those lines. How many people in this room will draw those lines a whole bunch of times if you can make $2,000 every time? You ought to think about it like that, right? It's just do it. You just keep doing it. And you just keep doing it until you're so sick of doing it you don't want to do it anymore. Then you keep drawing the lines, right? And then you just keep drawing the lines until you're so sick you want to barf. Okay? Then you go throw up, and then you draw them again and again and again and again. It's simple. You just do the same thing over and over. You just duplicate it. You keep it simple, okay? So that's why we do this. Front end of the plan, retail profit, right? 30 to 100%, 5% on L1, and then put your letter of intent in. The LOI is critical. If you haven't LOI'd and you're here today, then you need to LOI. You got to do it this month, okay? It's like I heard so many panelists say, well, I just set a goal. Or my husband and I set the goal, okay? And we decided, well, we'll do this much, and then we did it. Isn't that amazing? Like you actually write it down, put a number, and then your brain figures it out and you do it. Write them down. Set some goals of what you're going to do in July when you go home from this event. Minimum LOI. Many of you will become 1-month executives. This is your first event. You're not even sure why you're here. And you will go home and become a first-month executive this month. Make sure that you do that. Make sure you're writing down some of these goals, all right? So we are working on the front end of the plan. And then once we get to the middle part, we become executives. And you've heard people on the panels and many people up last night that are executives or golds or lapises, right? So when you become an executive, that's when the magic starts to happen in the Nu Skin compensation structure. Everything on the front end is fun. And you might get into the qualifying pool and get even $1,000 before you're an executive. And that's all good to do. All right? But the reality is, this is all kind of temporary money. We're looking for the permanent money. We're looking for that recurring stream of income, okay? When you become an executive, you can do great things. I mean, I watched my daughters. Both of them have got more than $5,000 checks in their second months by just building group volume. It's like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, it is. Pretty amazing for a couple of months in a business, right? And so when you become an executive, all of a sudden you can tap into this 20% commission number. That is huge. I'm here to tell you, I've seen a lot of compensation plans in my day. There are very few plans that put that much commission in the middle part of the plan, right? And it works. And it works in a really significant way when you have something like toothpaste that can create the kind of volumes that we're seeing today. Very significant. The key in this business is to get to the back end of the plan. Okay, I wanted to give you just a quick story about where I used to work. I worked at AT&T years ago. I was a salesman for the big phone company. It was right after deregulation, if anybody's old enough to remember that in this room, okay? AT&T used to own all the telephones in the country. And then all of a sudden it got broken up and made into baby bells and so forth. And that was right when we could sell computers. That was when I got hired at AT&T. And I remember AT&T would come up with a new compensation plan every year. And I remember that at the beginning of the year, I'd take my team. I had account executives. I had 4 or 5 people on our support team. And I would take my team into a conference room. We'd take the compensation booklet. We'd pull the staples out of the thing. And then we would start to paste these pages of this booklet all over the walls of this conference room. We'd read every page and take a yellow highlighter and say, okay, this product has this much commission. Oh, this one has this much commission. That one has this much commission. And then we would take all those yellow marks and we would look at what are the products Nu Skin's or AT&T is willing to pay the highest commission percentage on. And we would only sell the top 5 products. We wouldn't even sell anything else. Our boss was like, why aren't you guys selling this other stuff? We'd say, because you don't pay us to sell it. So we're not going to sell that stuff. We're only going to sell this stuff because this is where we make the greatest return for our time and energy. Right here. You get it? Are you guys awake? Are you tracking on this? Okay, so that's why we would do what we did there. When I came to Nu Skin, what do you think the first thing was that I did? I had to understand, how do I get the money? Like, where's the money? It's got to be somewhere in this plan here. Where's the money? How do I get to the money? If you don't know where the money is, you can't even get it. You understand that? Okay, so you got to know where the money is. The real money. Okay, this recurring money is what I'm talking about. And so that's on the back end of this plan, guys. And if you look at the back end of this plan, Nu Skin has 5%, 6 levels deep on the back end of that plan. You guys can all see that right there, right? 30% of the total payout is stacked right here under this blue diamond line on the back end of the plan. Nu Skin will pay 20 in the middle, and they'll pay 5% on the front, right? Potential of 55% total payout. Now that's never paid out because not everybody qualifies for all the highest bonuses. But Nu Skin does pay 43% of all the money that comes in commissionable volume in this company goes back to distributors in commissions. All right, 43. That is one of the highest long-term sustainable payouts in this industry. All right? So if I was to divide this plan, please put it back up on the screen. If I was to divide this plan, and let's say that someday it was possible for you to make a $100,000 check in a single month. Okay, let's say that you could do that. If I was to split it out, you'd put maybe $1,000 on the front end of the plan. You know, some wholesale to retail profit. Maybe you get in the Q pool. Maybe you've got a little 5% L1 money coming to you. Okay, about $1,000. Middle part of the plan on $2,000 or $3,000. Okay, $2,000 or $3,000. Maybe you get in the executive pool and you get a little bit more. Okay, plan on $2,000 or $3,000. That means that 97% of a $100,000 check would come from the back end of the compensation plan. Okay, that is where the big, serious money is. How do you get that? What's the message that Nu Skin is trying to send to you and to me by structuring their plan that way? Every company sends a message through their compensation plan. They do. Even AT&T sent a message. They said, we'd rather you sell these products right here. These are more important to us that you sell these. We'll pay you more to sell them. Right? So what's the message Nu Skin's trying to send to all of us in this company through this compensation plan? They're saying to you, become not only a leader, they're saying become a leader of leaders. Right? Okay, you may have heard this story before. Years ago, I used to play around with thoroughbred horses. And I learned a lot about the thoroughbred racing business, and I spent a lot of money on the thoroughbred racing business. And I learned how it worked. And if you have a horse that goes to the track and it runs and it wins graded races, okay, they call that getting black type, right? They know everything the horse has done. And it's got black type under its name, right? It won a graded stakes. If that horse is a male and he can go on and become a sire and produce offspring that also go to the track and win, then he's pretty good. But he's not the best. The best ones are the ones that produce offspring that go to the track and win, who also become studs and produce offspring that go to the track and win. You have really big value in a horse that can become a sire of sires. Not just a sire, but get some runners. Okay? And that's what this business is. You become a leader, and that's great. You move to the middle part of the plan. But the really serious money is reserved for the people that are leaders of leaders. Not just leaders of distributors, but leaders of leaders. You understand that? Okay, that's the difference. And that's what the back end of the compensation plan is all about, right? Okay, so with that, let's look at the average commissions. All right? These monies that you see here, especially as you get towards 8 and 12, are this recurring stream of income type money. Those are the averages. And I want you to remember the average of $42,231 for a blue diamond, okay? And I want to compare this for you when we look at the back end. All right, let's say your goal is to be a blue diamond because you want this recurring stream of money coming to your bank account. And on your first level, you have to get 12 executives. Is that true? To be a blue diamond, you have to do that. You got to go out and create 12 first level executives on your front line for you to achieve the title of blue diamond status. Those 12 groups are going to average around 3,000 points each. And now people will say, well, wait a minute, my toothpaste groups are all doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000. So the averages are higher. In fact, the global average is higher than 3,000 if you look at every executive worldwide in Nu Skin, okay? But I'm going to use 3,000 as a simple number because what will happen over time is people will go and do what's best for them financially, and they will create as many organizations that can be supported at 3,000 points. There's a lot of advantages to be at 3,000. A lot of additional commissions, a lot of other things happen when you're at 3,000. So we're going to stick with that number as a baseline number. 3,000 in 12 groups is 36,000 points on your first generation. Okay? And that would equal 5% commission would equal $1,800. Not that much, but we're just getting started, right? On your second generation, you'll have 24 executive groups. Now, how does that happen? You know, this is interesting because a lot of people will think about, other companies they've been involved in, or people who've tried to recruit them. And those people will say things like, New Skin's compensation plan is hard. It's more challenging than ours. In our plan, all you have to do is get 2 people, and you can only sponsor 2 people, and they'll get 2 each, and that's 4, and they'll get 2 each, and that's 8, and there's 2 each, and that's 16, that's 32, and then you'll be rich. What a lie, okay? Is that how it happens? 2 times 2 is 4 is 8 is 16, 32? It never happens that way, ever. You hear what I'm saying? Ever. Okay, go talk to the frustrated binary people. Go to a psychologist's office. All the people that are going to them have a binary plan. Because they've only got one leg and they can't match the other leg because it never goes 2 by 2, and they've got all this money down there, but they can never touch it. Okay? At least in our plan, you can actually get the money. Okay, you might have to work hard to do it, but it's actually possible to actually get the money. And that's why we have the highest payouts in the network marketing industry over the longest duration of time. That's why New Skin's paid more money to more people as a percentage of our revenue than really anybody in the industry. And so it's really powerful, guys. So don't listen to these people that are deluded. I mean, you got to disabuse them of this stupid idea they have that somehow it's easier. It's not. It's like a trap, basically. What we do is we make it possible for people. So the way it really works, the way it really happens, is one of those 12 is going to want to be a blue diamond just like you. One of them. And they're going to go out and get half of those 24 all by themselves. And some of those 12 on your front line will become an emerald. They'll get 6, and some will get 4 and be a ruby, and some will be a lapis, and some won't ever get any. They'll just be an executive. They'll just sit there on your front line as an executive. I've got like 8 of them that have been just executives, literally, maybe golds or executives for the last 20 years. They just love the product. They've got a great little customer base. They do their volume, and they're an executive, and no big deal. Okay? That'll happen, but those are not your power lines. That's not where you're really going to make your money, right? Those are people that allow you to tap in to your power lines and to achieve the money. You'll end up with 48 groups on your 3rd generation. You'll have 96 on your 4th, 192 on your 5th. You'll have 384 executives on your 6th generation alone once you fully mature your organization. And you're thinking, I don't even know 384 people, let alone executives, right? That's right. You don't know them. You don't even know these people yet. But you'll meet them as you build an organization, as you build this thing out, and you create this process of duplication by following the system, then you will generate these kinds of organizations. Notice that the 6th generation alone, the commission from that level alone is more than the first 5 generations combined. Notice that each successive level, when you fully duplicate it, is worth more than everything above it. A 6th generation global seamless compensation plan is insane. I mean, it is crazy what you can do with this. And we are living proof that this actually happens. All right, think back 2 slides ago. What's the average Blue Diamond income? $42,231. And this one says what? Let's total it. $113,400. So what's the difference here? How come the average Blue Diamond payout's $42,231, and yet I'm showing you guys $113,400 if you fully mature it? What's the difference? Why do we have this gap between potential and reality? I mean, 42 a month's pretty good, isn't it? Could you live on that? Probably pretty good, right? Yeah, I mean, it's incredible anyway, right? But this is what is possible right here. And more than this is possible, okay? Now, obviously, some Blue Diamonds are making less than 42, and some are making more than 42. That's the average, right? So, if you want to be average, have at it. That's fine. We'll take it, okay? But if you want to go beyond that, you can do it. And I think everybody is starting to sense, just from the organic growth with this kind of new low-barrier front end that's happening with toothpaste, that as we perfect this and as we bring in, a lot more people, I think everybody in this room is starting to understand that you are going to fully mature compensation plans. It's going to happen over the next 4 and 5 years. And if you felt somewhat frustrated because you haven't matured your whole plan over these last 10 years, then get ready, because it is on its way right now. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for you as well as everybody else who wants to pay the price and pursue it. Why is that red line in the middle of that chart? That's because that's where some of the biggest companies in our industry stop paying on breakaway organizations. Okay? And if you total up everything above that red line, that's about $13,000 a month, which is great income. Okay? But it's not $113,000. Small difference, right? And that's because the depth of payout, when you understand a 6th generation payout, and you understand what that can turn into around the world, and you start to think about social networks being connected the way they are all over this world and how this business is going to happen in the next 10 years or so, this is going to be the best times ever for this company. Ever. Okay? I think everybody gets that. Do you guys sense that? The future of Nu Skin is unbelievably bright. The best years are definitely ahead in this company. They're not in the rearview mirror, that is for sure, right? So, let's talk about a power line. So what is a power line? It's not hanging on a transmission tower behind your house. This is a different power line, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to kind of show people how this works real fast, okay? Hey, come here. This is our new team lead. Come over here. Tell me your name again. Gideon. Okay, here's Gideon right here. Let's say I know Gideon, and I sponsor Gideon on my first level, okay? Gideon becomes an executive, all right? Well, let's stop. Let's not even say that. We'll just sponsor Gideon. And my job, if I'm going to really build this business, is I need to learn how to sift. That's my job. I've heard Brent Bryson say this so many times. We're in a sifting business, right? We're not in a selling business. We're in a sifting business. Okay? So Gideon, I know him, he's my good friend, and I call him up and I recruit him and I tell him you got to do this, and he goes, okay, great. And so he's in the game with me. And he's on my first level, okay? And he recruits his best friend, T-Ra. I'm going to call you T. We'll make it easy, okay? He recruits T. T's right here. Gideon recruits T. T knows Samantha, okay? And he recruits her. She's on the 3rd level, okay? And Samantha knows Sylvia, and Sylvia's on the 4th level, okay? Who recruits Christina, okay, who's on the 5th level, who recruits Abby, okay? And Abby happens to be the animal. And Abby, the animal, okay? We got it right here. There you go. Abby is going to, make it happen. So I just want you to understand the first thing that I do when I start sponsoring somebody is I'm not just focused on Gideon. Abby, yeah, don't sit down yet. Okay. I'm focused on Gideon, right? I get him going first, but immediately I'm looking at who Gideon knows. That's the key thing. Everybody's got their own networks, right? A lot of them are online, but a lot of them are not even part of your Facebook friends right now. Okay, there are other people that you've run into in your life. And so I'm trying to get Gideon to show me his best people. And this is where we have this little FFBC, which you guys don't even probably know what that is yet. But everybody's got 4 networks that are already part of your life. Family, friends, business, and community networks. Everybody's already got them. And there's all kinds of people from all 4 of those networks that are part of your Facebook following now, okay? But there's a whole bunch that aren't even connected. People you've forgotten, people you've lost, people that are not connected to you anymore. I want Gideon to show me. I'm saying to him, who's your most successful family member? Who's your most successful friend? Who's the most successful business contact you've got, right? This is my conversation with Gideon, okay? And he says, well, I know T, okay? And so we call T. And maybe we say, hey, post, or maybe we say, you've got to take a look at this. We've figured out how to monetize social networks, we're going to make it happen. And so we recruit T. And immediately, I come past Gideon and I say to T, T, show me your best people. Let's find your best people. Best family member, most successful friend, most successful business contact. And I'm actually just sifting, guys. And this, in many cases, is an offline experience. Now, I just did this through the online experience, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute, how I did this, okay? So all of a sudden, we find Samantha, right? And Samantha's serious, okay? She, out of all his, friends, the 5 or 10 he introduces me to, she pops up. The lights are on bright. Everybody's home upstairs. And she's like, okay, I get it. I want to do this, right? And Samantha recruits Sylvia. She's like her best friend, maybe a neighbor she used to live next to, okay? And then I go sifting through Sylvia and I find Christina, okay? And Christina's right there, and then we find Abby, okay? And Abby is this person who says, where have you been my whole life? I've been looking for something just like this. This is my perfect fit. Get out of my way. I understand what I need to do. I've prepared for this my whole life. My whole feed is this kind of a deal right here. And she just is going to go crazy, right? She is what we call a locker, okay? So this is a really interesting process. The deeper you can find a serious person in your team, then the bigger the volume's going to get, all right? And those people. Find out about them. Who are they? Who are they recruiting? Who's the best person on their team? Can we do a three-way call with that person? Introduce them to me. Let me talk to them. Okay? You got to get on the phone, guys. Have we heard how many times this weekend that people can't feel the energy through the message or the post, right? But they hear it in your voice. And better if they can see your face. And that's why we try to do a ton of blue jeans with these new groups I'm working with, so they can see it, hear it, communicate, feel the energy, and see how things really work here, right? So this is the process of sifting, and bingo, there's a good one. You sift through their contacts, bingo, there's another one. You sift through their contacts, bingo, there's another one. You sift again, another one, and all of a sudden, somewhere in here, 4, 5, 6, even 7 sometimes, you find the very best people. Isn't that interesting? Why do you find the very best people on 4, 5, or 6? Because it's the law of probabilities, okay? I don't have time to talk to all the people they know. Everybody in this room who graduated high school, wherever you went to high school, knows 2,000 people on a first-name basis. You do. You don't think you do, but you do. They're not all on your feed, okay? And so the fact is, you know those people. I don't have time to look through 2,000 people for Gideon and for T and for Sylvia, right? I don't have time to do all that stuff, okay? What I have time to do is look at their best people. Maybe I can look at their top 10, maybe their top 20 people. That's my job. Guys, have you noticed that people get really excited, but people have a hard time sticking with things? Have you noticed that? Is that life? Like it's fun when it's easy, right? First blush, oh, post a grade, 22, 30, great, you know. You mean I got to talk to somebody else and get them to post? Oh my gosh, that's a little more scary. Okay? Yeah, that's our business. That's what we've got to do. It's about talking to people. It's about recruiting, right? If you want to just post and make a little bit of money, that's great. We're glad you're here. But what I'm talking about is totally different than that. I'm talking about treating this like a business and understanding this is something that can revolutionize your future, your whole life. It can change everything forever from here on out. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. If you don't want to hear that part, then you don't even need to be in the room. You're hungry? See you later. Okay? Go get it. You're more hungry for your food than you are for this information. See you later. Okay? You don't need to be here. Okay? But if you want the information, then pay attention. Okay? So, that's what our process is. Why do we find them down here? Because we've gone through 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 potential contacts. And we've asked them to sift for us and bring us their best ones so we can talk to them. And all of a sudden, the best ones show up down in here because of the law of probabilities. That's why it happens. It's just math. All right? And when you see this, your job is to lock in. And if you don't understand this yet, then you better be calling your upline and saying, your hand's shaking in your phone. I think I just talked to a locker. Okay, her name's Abby. She's down here. She's like an animal. She's going to kill this thing. We got to call her, okay? So have your upline help you, because they've done this before. They know what we're looking for, right? We're looking for the sire of sires. We're looking for the ones who really have the mojo, that are going to go do it, that aren't afraid, you know, that this is their deal. They're extroverts extraordinaire. Like Dan McCormick. He'll just call anybody. Doesn't matter who it is, right? I'm not like Dan. Dan's way better than I am at this business, okay? But I've been able to do okay because I'm surgical in how I drive these lines, okay? And so this is what happens. So Abby is going to do it. So guys, what I'll do, and I've done this many times, I'll come all the way down this line and I'll say, let's make a deal, Abby. I'll give you all the time you want to consume. Here's our contract we're going to have. I will match you energy for energy. You push on the gas, I'll push on the gas. You let off the gas, I'm going to let off the gas. As hard as you want to drive, I'll drive that hard too. Okay? I don't care what it takes. Wherever it is, however many calls it is, whatever the meetings are, whoever we're going to talk to, I don't care. If you're going for it, I will be right there matching you. Okay? If you back off, then I'm going to back off because I owe it to other people in my team that are pushing on the gas. Right? I got so many people to work with. I don't got time to waste with people that aren't going to be serious and not get it and not do it. Right? And so I hold them to a pretty high standard. I tell them, I'm not going to call you every day. You're going to call me. I'm not going to be calling you trying to pump you up and motivate you and drag you along, right? You ever done that before? You call people and they're so excited the day before and the next day, oh, I don't know. Man, I got pretty bad comments on my feed last night. You know, somebody said their teeth weren't quite as white as they thought they should be. Really? Okay. And so you go, oh, that's okay. Just like, it'll happen, it's okay. And you pump them all up, right? And they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to do some referral posts. I got it. Next day you call them up and they're like, they're laying on the ground. Oh, I'm almost dead. The referral post didn't work very good, you know. Okay? So you pump them up again. They're energy vampires. They suck the blood right out of you. Okay? They will kill you in this business. I mean, are you sick of dragging dead people? Okay? You're rubbing the hair off the back of their head. You've got them by the hands. You're dragging them. Come on, you can do it. I know you can do it. Please, just post one more time. Okay? Let them go. It's exhausting to drag dead people. Okay? Folks, there's 1.7 billion people on Facebook. Do you think there's plenty of people that when they see this will go, I get it? You better believe it. And the biggest mistake most of you will make in your career of Nu Skin is you'll spend way too much time with people that are not going to do it. They don't care that much. They're not that motivated. 6% of the people in this country control 60% of the wealth because they're motivated. Okay? The other 40% split up the other, 40% of the money. Okay? I'm just telling you. There are people that want freedom. They want to be free. They're frustrated. You know, they're in these dumb businesses or franchises or jobs and they hate it. And they want to do something better and different with their life, okay? And when you find them, you make the contract with them. You make the deal. You talk about the expectations. You talk about what's going to happen, okay? And you go for it. If Abigail does this and she goes out and becomes a blue diamond, stand up, this whole row, right here, stand up. And all these people become executives on her first generation. I want you to see the power of this plan. Here's what's going to happen. Sorry for you guys back here because you just got blocked, okay? Here's what's going to happen. She becomes a blue diamond. Let's just say it happens. And let's say that she has 12 frontline executives and they've all got 5,000 group sales volume, okay? That's 60,000 in volume. 5% of 60,000 is how much in commission? Come on! How much? 3,000, right? $3,000 is what she gets in a check from just her first generation, right? Now maybe she's got a second generation. Everybody stand up. We're going to pretend. All the way to the end of the room. Stand up. We're going to pretend. And you guys stand up. This section right here. We're going to pretend that she's got 24 second generation executives because one of hers on her front line wanted to be a blue diamond just like her. And they went and got 12 all by themselves, right? And some got 3 and some got 6 and some didn't get any. But the net result is there's 24 executives here. She is building a dynasty. She is setting herself up for the rest of her lives. I'm in the mix with her. We're sitting here finding these people, working, building, right? That's what we're doing. 3,000 on this level. If there's twice as many here, that's another 6,000 in commissions to her, right? Sure, 24 groups at 5,000 is 120,000. 120,000 times 5% is 6,000. 6, 3, $9,000, right? Okay. Christina. What is your title? You are a gold executive because you have Abby on your front line. You recruited the animal, right? That's amazing, right? And so, what is your commission from this dynasty? Think about this. You're a gold executive. So if you're a gold executive, how deep can you get paid? One generation of breakaway executive groups, right here. And if she's doing $5,000 a month, just like the rest in her own group, how much commission do you get? Yeah, 5% of 5,000. You got to learn this 5% thing. This is really good. $250. Look at this dynasty, and you're only getting $250. That is painful. Painful, right? So what does Christina have to do, guys? Yeah, our plan requires you to go wide to go reaching deep, right? So she recruits one more person. Okay, Becky, right? Becky, that's a good one to recruit. She recruits Becky, okay? So Becky becomes a new executive on Christina's front line. And that makes Christina a what? A lapis executive. When you're a lapis, how deep can you reach? 2 generations. So she gets paid $250 now, and $3,000. So she can now reach into her second generation. You see that? Okay, so her check just went from $250 the month before to $3,500. She just like 12 times her income by getting one more first level executive. Do you see that? Okay. And then what she'll do is she'll get 2 more. Oh my goodness, look at your front line. Look at your front line, man. Unbelievable, right? She gets 2 more. Now she becomes a ruby. And how deep can rubies reach? 3 generations, right? So she gets 3,000, 6,000 now, right? Sorry, 1,000, 3,000, 6,000. Now she goes to $10,000 a month of income instead of just $250 when she was just a gold. You guys see that? You see what's happening here? And ultimately, Christina is not going to be a failure. She's going to go out there and get 12 executives, and she's going to be able to reach down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations of her team, right? That's how you create phenomenal income. Now watch. Now watch what happens. The same thing that happened to Christina is going to come up here, and it's going to happen to Sylvia, okay? Sylvia is a gold executive. Oh my goodness. Look at your downline. What are you going to do, Sylvia? Exactly. Recruit some more. Build some more executives, right? She has to. This is where they're in the vice grip. It becomes so painful. You know, you don't want Nu Skin to be your favorite charity all the time, right? And she's donating all of these commissions to Nu Skin every month. That's why they don't pay out 55% and only 43%, because some people don't maximize the plan that they already have in their downline. So Nu Skin doesn't have to pay it all out, right? We want to make them pay it all, don't we? Sure we do. And so eventually Sylvia is either going to become a blue diamond, or she's going to say, too painful, I don't want to do it, and she's out. And if she drops out and she doesn't maintain her executive status and she quits, sit down, please. I'm sorry, Sylvia. We killed you. We killed you. Sorry. Then what happens is the rest of this all just moves up one level. Okay? It all just comes up one level. Now some people go, wow, look what happened to poor Sylvia. You guys are so mean to her. This is what a lot of our competitors want you to believe. Is that mean? Did Sylvia have the same chance that everybody else has? Yes, of course. It's called life, guys. Some people do it, some people don't. We can't make people do it. We can't put them in a headlock and drag them across the goal line. You're going to score whether you want to or not, right? We can't do that, right? No, we can't do that. And so it's up to everybody else to decide how they're going to do it and what they're going to do, right? Sylvia could do it if she wants to, okay? So it all rolls up. So let's resurrect her. Come back. This is the Lazarus effect. It's not called P-exec. It's called Lazarus exec, okay? And so what happens is she could be there. She'll eventually be a blue diamond. You'll eventually be a blue diamond. T will be a blue diamond. And Gideon will have to be a blue diamond too, because it's locked in. Okay? So what happens, guys, when you drive a line, here's the effect of driving a line. You're sifting, 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 sifting. Bingo, you got a locker. Okay? You camp on the locker. You might spend 6 months here. Just like, you'll have other teams, but a lot of your time is going to be going here in this team. It's worth it. They're producing results. You're seeing volume, right? That's happening, okay? So what'll happen is it's like an accordion. It's like you push it down, and it comes flying back up. You push the volume down, and all of a sudden the volume goes just like that. They all become blue diamonds. and you end up with blue diamond on top of 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 blue diamond all the way down the line. That's a power line, okay? That will pay you for the rest of your life, okay? So, let's go back to the slides. Thank you very much. You guys can sit down. Okay, back to the slides. Okay, an average power line is worth probably $20,000 a month. You know what? A really strong power line like that one would be worth about $40,000 a month. So I just want to tell you these two keys. You have to understand the two keys, and I just explained them right there. Actually, I didn't explain number one as much, but I'm going to explain it on this next chart to you. You need to understand these two things about our compensation plan. The counting of first month LOI volume is critical because of the energy and the activity and the engagement that it creates. Okay? That's really critical. And the second thing is what we just showed you, which is the wider you are, the deeper you can reach into your organization, right? Width equals depth of payout. And then we also demonstrated compression when we had Sylvia sit down and everything moved up one level, okay? Compression is absolutely necessary. More network marketing companies have died because they don't have any compression. Why would they die? Because of no compression. They want to all be really nice, like, hey, in our plan, nobody ever gets compressed out. Well, then I can tell you, your plan's never going to go anywhere. Why is it critical? Because if there was no compression, would I be motivated to go sifting down line and spending hours and weeks and months or a year sifting, and looking for the best people that always show up on 4, 5, 6? I wouldn't even be motivated, would I? Because everybody could just sit in the middle. Why would I ever go work with Abby like I just did, helping her build on my 7th level and my 8th level? I'm not even getting paid on that. Why would I go do that? I would never do that if there was no compression. I would never do it. It would never make any sense to do it. Do you understand why? Because if everybody in between flakes out and they don't do it, then Abby's going to roll up to my front line and I'm going to get her whole team anyway. I'm going to get paid for the work that I did. Do you understand that? Okay, is that fair to get paid for the work that you do? Yeah, that's honest, isn't it? Okay? If all those people could just sit there in between and do their $30 a month or something. Yeah, in our company, all you got to do is $30 a month and you'll never lose your spot. Okay? Then you will never, ever drive that line and find those leaders. People all over this industry readily admit we have the most amazing leaders. We got the best top leaders in the industry. And people wonder, how do they do that? That compensation plan is so hard. How do they actually do that? It's because it is hard. Because it does require something. And because you have to do some volume. You can't just sit there and be a blocker and have no motivation for your upline who may have the skill to go work downline and actually surface those leaders. Right? Do you want me to go work in your downline with my skill set and help you build? Do you? Yeah, you do. I promise you do. Okay? I can't do all of you. I can only do my new team. Sorry. Okay? But the reality is you want your upline. There's plenty of people up on this front row that have this skill set right now. You want to employ them in your team. If they're not working in your team, they're working in your sidelines team, creating your competition. Do you understand that? I don't understand why people are not nonstop calling their upline for three-way calls, for conference calls, demanding time from your upline. Why wouldn't you be demanding the time and have that invested in your team instead of letting that go into somebody else's team underneath your upline? Why? I mean, it's like you're clueless. It's like I don't even understand your logic, why you wouldn't be doing that. Okay? So let us help you drive these lines. Is it good for you if we find a locker underneath you 5 levels down? Is that good for you? Yeah, because that's going to be your power line. Most team elites in this company have one power line. One. And a lot of it, honestly, guys, is because when most of us started, nobody knew any of this stuff. And a lot of people went out and they just kept throwing them against the wall, right? They'd sponsor somebody and go, wham, put them on the wall. Oh, that one slid to the ground. He's done. Okay, grab another one. Wham, against the wall. Oh, that guy's done. Grab another one. Wham, against the wall. Okay, last one. Boom, and that one sticks. Oh, that guy's stuck. Look at him. He's scrambling up the wall. Okay, that's good. Very good. That's the way it is sometimes, right? You want them to help you sift and sort, to guide you. Why? Because time is your enemy. Most of you guys here, you've got a clock ticking. You've got certain expectations that have been set. And you're thinking, if I don't get to those expectations, I'm probably going to lose interest. You know, everybody maybe has expiration dates on them. I don't know. You know, if you're just not going to get where you need to be fast enough, you might lose interest and say, well, maybe it's not going to work for me. Okay? Time is your enemy. If you can have results happen quicker, then all of a sudden more people stay longer, and all of a sudden they figure it out. A lot more people can change, right? Is that what we're seeing happen now because of social selling? Yeah, we're seeing a lot more people come in the door. We're exposing a lot more people to this unbelievable opportunity so that they can figure it out and they can actually transform their lives, okay? All right, so let's talk about the first line that I ever drove. And every one of these lines have stories behind them. And I don't have time to go through all the stories. If you ever want to, you can go on to YouTube and you can watch Driving Lines by Nathan Ricks. And that's been watched a lot of times all over the world. And you can get a bunch of these stories. But today we don't have time to do that, okay? So I actually recruited, one of my very first people was Richmond Flowers. I went into a guy's office in Salt Lake City in my first, I think it was my first week of the business. Craig Tillotson, my sponsor, went with me, and we pitched this guy who would do real estate seminars on joining Nu Skin. You know, he's out there pitching opportunity to people. And he did not want to do it. And on the way out, I said, you've got to know somebody who is sick of what they're doing. They're tired of it. You got to know somebody that you could give me a couple referrals. And he goes, actually, I do know one guy. He's come to our seminar before. The guy is sick of what he's doing. He's in the futures and commodity trading business, and he can never leave the screen. He's got to be looking at it all the time. And he's really burned out. He's really tired. And he said, here's his name and his number, and he gave me Richmond's name. And I called him on my cell phone as soon as we walked out of that office. And we started talking. I said, Richmond, I'm like, Nathan Ricks, you don't know me, but I got your name from this guy. He says you're in the commodities business, and he said you may be interested in a change. And he said, you could be motivated. And I said, I just joined this company, Nu Skin. And, you know, I'm brand new. So all I can tell you is I'm going to kill it in this company. And you want to be on my team once you see it. If you want to do it, you want to be on my team. And he said, what's the name of the company? I said, it's Nu Skin. And the guy goes, are you kidding? He goes, I went to a Nu Skin presentation a week ago, and no one's ever called me back. They've never followed up with me. He goes, I was actually interested. I mean, can you imagine? And I said, we can take care of that right now. And I added the company on, and I signed them up on that phone call. And I said, Richmond, I'm picking my generals. I'm picking my players, okay? I said, I'm dead serious about this. And if you want to be on the team, you want my attention, then you need to call me every day. I'm expecting you to do 2 or 3 three-way calls with me every day. And if you'll commit to do that, then I'll commit to you that I'll give you my time and my focus and my energy. And he said, I'll do it. And he did do it. Every day. I mean, this guy's busy as all get out. He'd get these people on the phone. He'd set the phone down. I can hear him trading in the background. I'm giving the pitch to his buddy on the other end of the phone, right? Truman, pick it back up. How you doing, guys? Have you signed up yet? Is he still talking to you? You know? That's exactly how you talk to people. He just wanted everybody to sign up. And so Richmond eventually went out, and we found this friend of his, Paula Cook. And Paula Cook Ehrlich today. And she lives in Miami, and she worked for this company, Eastern Airlines. Great airline. We're trying to recruit her. She goes, hey, my company's so good, it'll never go out of business. It was bankrupt 2 years later, right? Airlines, famous for going bankrupt, right, Jerry? And so, you know, this is what happened. And finally, Paula got really serious about this, but it was a few months down the road. And then she knew this guy, and Richmond, they both knew this guy named Bob Creech. And Bob was in Dallas, Texas, and he was a commodities trader, oil trader. And so one day, this is August now, I'm in the business 6 weeks. Richmond has become an executive in 2 months, June and July. Okay, back in those days, minimum 2 months to become executive. So he did it. So he convinces me to fly to Dallas. He flies in from Miami, and we meet in Dallas, and we meet this guy. And we go to lunch, and then we go do this meeting that evening. And this is like my first real hotel meeting, bigger meeting. And all these people seemed disinterested. And we found out that Creech told them that if you come to the meeting and listen to these guys for 30 or 40 minutes, then I'll buy you all drinks after. So they're all looking at their watches like, is this thing almost over? We want to get drunk. Okay? So nobody was paying that much attention to what I was saying or what Richmond was saying. And so Richmond is pretty upset about the fact that he bought them off at drinks. They weren't really interested. And so he got in Creech's face a little bit, and Creech said, that's okay. He goes, let me introduce you to Danny White from the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm thinking, really? Okay, Danny White, this could be really good, right? And so he did that. And the next morning, we went and met with Danny White. And to make a long story short, I'm giving Danny White the pitch in his office. There's like football memorabilia everywhere on his walls. I'm sitting here with an NFL All-Pro quarterback, one of the big names in the industry, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. I can't even believe I'm in the room, right? I'm pinching myself. And I'm giving Danny the pitch, you know, and I pull out a jar of New Skin product and slap it on his counter, on his desk right there, and his eyes just got huge. He goes, is this New Skin? Is that what this is all about? I'm thinking he's going to hammer me, right? He goes, that's incredible. I've been using this product for 2 years. He goes, some person sold it to us, some lady, you know, down the street somewhere. My wife's been using it. He goes, I go in there and I steal that cream every day. I said, well, wouldn't you be interested in like signing up then? He goes, well, probably. I said, we can take care of that right now. We signed him up on the spot. On the spot. And I'm thinking, we're going to own Texas. We just signed up Danny White, All-Pro quarterback. I mean, I'm walking like 3 feet off the ground coming out of that meeting, right? I call my wife on the way home, driving to the airport in Dallas. I go, you won't believe what just happened. We just signed up Danny White. My wife goes, who's he? Like, you don't know who Danny White is? Are you kidding me? So anyway, we do this whole thing. I tell Danny the same thing. I'll spend my time with you. I'm driving lines, man. I'm sifting. I'm driving down line, right? I'll spend my time with you if you'll commit to these things. He goes, well, I'm pretty busy, but I'll try to do that. I called him the next day. We do 2 3-way calls. I go, all right. This is great, right? And all of a sudden, I tried the next 6 days, no answer. I finally get him, like the middle of the next week. I go, Danny, what happened? He goes, well, I had a game, you know, in between all this, right? I'm an all-pro quarterback, you know. Oh, what do you mean? You're not focused on New Skin? Come on. And he finally just said, hey, you know, I'm really busy. Why don't you just come down here next week? Because I'll get a bunch of people in my office, and let's just talk to them all at once instead of me doing these calls with you. How do you feel about that? And I'm thinking, well, probably not another chance if I don't say yes. So yeah, okay, fine, I'll be there. I'm 7 weeks into the business. I don't have any money. I mean, I'm buying airplane tickets, making these trips, and I'm like, I'm spending money I don't really have, right? And so all of a sudden, you know, the next week comes. I call him on Tuesday. I say, hey, Danny, how's it going? I'll be down there in 2 days. You got people coming. You got your invites going. Gonna have people in your office, right? Yeah, it's all good, right? I go down there, and I'm driving to his office, and I called him and said, hey, man, on the way. Be there in about an hour. And he goes, is it Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday. Remember, we talked 2 days ago about this, remember? He goes, you know what? I really don't have anybody kind of lined up. He goes, it's really not worth you coming up here, man. I'm sorry. I just totally forgot about it. I go, Danny, seriously? Are you kidding me? You know, I don't have money to be wasting on plane tickets, running around this country, coming down here to do this meeting for you, right? And he goes, man, I know, it's bad. He goes, look, this is like crazy, but if you'll fly to Phoenix on Saturday, I'll put you in front of my family. I'm going to be in Phoenix for an event. My whole family will be there. I mean, I'm sitting here debating, right? I'm weighing this in my mind. I'm like, do I tell him to stick it? You know? No, he is the all-pro quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe I should actually take one more shot here. Take a deep breath, and I go, okay, I will meet you in Phoenix on Saturday, but don't forget. Called my wife, turned the car around, called my wife, honey, I need you to pick me up a couple hours ahead of what I thought. She goes, why? What happened? I said, well, he forgot about the meeting. Are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me. I said, nope, it's true. But it's okay because I'm going to meet him Saturday in Phoenix and I'm going to talk to his whole family. I'm an optimist, right? She goes, you are the biggest gullible, you know, that's ridiculous, you know. You're not going to Phoenix. You know, I said, honey, I've already made the commitment. I got to do it. I buy a full price, short-term ticket. I fly down to Phoenix, never been to Arizona in my life, right? I rent a car. I'm trying to find Mesa, Arizona. I don't know where this place is, right? I'm driving up and down these streets. I'm going, it's got to be the house. I'm supposed to be there at noon. It's like 1:45. Like, there's no cars on the street. I'm thinking, this isn't looking good. I go around the whole block. I come back. It's like now 8 minutes to. No cars on the street. I go, well, that's got to be the house. I walk up to the door, ring the doorbell, right? Nice, beautiful old woman answers the door. She got this apron on, looks total grandma look, right? Just want to love her. And I said, is Danny White here? She goes, no, he's not here. And I said, really? I said, I'm supposed to meet him here. And she goes, oh yeah, no, it's okay. He mentioned that somebody would be coming by. She said, you must be the New Skin Man. Yep, that's me, New Skin Man, right here. Felt like saying, no, I'm the Avon lady. Can I come in, please? She has me come in. She sits me in this parlor in the front of the house. I can see around the corner to the kitchen. She's back there cooking up a storm because the whole family's coming over, right? On the end of the house is one of these older houses that used to be a carport, and the family had themselves made the family room. They enclosed in the garage doors and kind of made a little family room off the kitchen there, and it was a homemade family room with homemade air conditioning, and it was so hot. This is August in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden grandkids come running in, and parents are like exhausted walking behind them, you know, and they're grabbing grandma, and she's hugging them and kissing all the kids, and I'm just sitting there. And as soon as those guys walk in, and they can see me out of the corner of their eye, they kind of turn their head and they ask her, who's that? Who's that guy? She goes, oh, that's just the New Skin Man. Don't worry about him. Over there, okay? I'm over there. New Skin Man. How's it going? How you doing? I got 4 blue bags with me. I decided I was going to make this trip pay for itself. I was going to sell all 4 of these on that trip, for sure. And so I'm sitting there, you know, waving to everybody. I got my blue bags all piled here and everything. I'm going, where is this guy? Finally, he shows up, you know. The big stud's there. Danny, right? Everybody, hey, man, Danny, yeah, you're here. Yeah. Hey, great pass last Sunday. Yeah, I know. Good pass. Yeah. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, they're all like there and everything, and Danny goes, hey, y'all. He goes, we're going to actually have this friend of mine, Nathan, here. He's going to talk to us all about New Skin once we get done with lunch, okay? I'm thinking, this is exactly like an Amway meeting, isn't it? Come over to my house for dinner. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to talk about Amway, okay? So I'm thinking, this is not good. This whole thing's so screwed up. I'm toast. So anyway, they eat pretty quick, you know, and the kids are going to go and play and all this. And Danny goes, everybody come on in here. And he grabs his sister and his brother, and he gets his dad. And he's got this brother-in-law. This guy's like sitting off in the corner. He's not talking to anybody, you know. He's kind of antisocial sitting over there. And I'm looking at him thinking something's wrong with this guy, you know. And so eventually what happens is Danny goes, come on, everybody, go into the family room. This is like, might as well say, let's go into the sauna. You know, we're going to talk to these people. And so he grabs this angry guy that's got this problem, and he goes, come on, get in the room, you know, and he kind of sweeps him in with his big arm, like that. So they're all sitting there on this sectional couch. There's a sectional, I'm sitting over here by the TV, and then there's this chair by itself with the angry guy, right over here. So I got Danny's brother, Danny's father, and then I got his sister, and I got Danny on the end, and the angry guy, okay? And so I get out my flip chart. I got my homemade flip chart, and I start giving these guys the pitch, and it's at least 90 in this room, right? It's not that exciting. I'm not that good. And about 10 minutes in, I come up for air, and I kind of look at my crowd, like checking things out. I look over at Danny's father. The guy's out cold. He's like, he's doing this, right? Probably what made me look up. I heard the snoring. I look over, you know, at the sister, and she's sitting there like, this is not that funny, you know, not that good. Danny's over there bobbing for apples. Danny's like, it's so painful. I feel so bad. I'm just standing here. Just lay down. You can sleep right here. It's okay. Take a nap. And then I look over at the angry guy. And that's what shocked me. I looked over at him and was like, because this guy is like burning holes in me. This guy's got laser eyes. I mean, it spooked me. I looked down and not only is he angry, he's a psycho. He's just like, I was like, he's locked onto me. I can't even turn my head. And I'm thinking, all right, I need to wrap this up, you know. This has been a disaster from the get-go. And I shut my flip chart, I put it down, I said, all right, I know this is the hottest thing you've ever seen. Everybody's going to want one of these kits. I've only got 4. Who wants the first one? And right then, the psycho jumps up. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Of all the bad luck. And he just comes right up to me, pulling his wallet out of his pocket, and he takes out $250, and he goes, this is incredible. I'm in! And he puts the money in my hand. Right on, right? That money was in my hand for about 2 seconds until Wilford, Danny's father, the father-in-law of this psycho, comes out of his deep sleep. Like he literally is like resurrected. He jumps up and he goes, "You're doing what?" And his hand goes boom and grabs the money. And I'm sitting there looking at these two. And this big fat hand is like shaking like this. He goes, "What do you mean you're in? You marry my daughter. You get her pregnant 5 times. You've been unemployed for 9 months. And you're going to give this guy your last $250 over my dead body." I've heard about domestic disputes before, you know. I've never seen them in my own life, but I'm watching this. I'm thinking this must be when they call the cops, right here. And he just, like the psycho just goes, like takes those laser eyes and he just turns them on him. Like he takes them off of me and he goes, zzz, it burns holes in his father-in-law. And he goes, "I don't know about you, but I'm in." Everybody in the room's awake. Nobody's sleeping. Everybody's on the edge of the chair, like watching this. You know, I'm sweating like crazy, like Jeff talked about, you know. And Wilford, the father, you know, the father of Danny, the father-in-law of this guy, you know, he's 65 or something, and he's like a cranker. This guy's a big old football player himself, you know. And he's sitting there, and he's just trying to say something. Everybody can see it. His eyes are going around. His mouth's trying to say something. Everybody, spit it out. Spit it out. Come on. And he finally goes, "Okay. Okay. If you're in, then you're in underneath me." This guy's not stupid, is he? No, if the son-in-law's going to do it, he'll be in my downline. Anyway, I sold all the kits, and I'm like, I'm out of here. High-pressure situation. And I get on the plane and go home, and I'm happy, okay? And so that's the way it turned out, is that Wilford White, Danny's father, signed up under him, and the psycho actually wasn't a psycho after all. He was a really good guy. And his name's Scott Malone, and he's still a good friend of mine. And so this is what happened. Scott Malone, this guy was the actual locker, okay? I'm going to draw a line here on his name here in just a second. I went down and spent all my time with Scott Malone. I actually went back to Phoenix like 2 weeks later, and they literally had 100 people in the room. That trip, I went by Mark Mabry's real estate office. Mark Mabry's sitting right here, okay? Stand up, Mark. I went by his office. Scott had put me on the phone with Rick and Larkin Palmer, and these guys were like home builders going broke, you know. So like, okay, we'll listen to you on this deal. So we recruited them, and then they said, "We know this guy named Mabry. He sells some of our houses, you know." So we go over to Mark's office, and Danny happened to be in town again. We all sit down there, and we give Mark the pitch, you know. And Mark didn't really do it, but his wife kicked butt, okay? And finally, we had to figure out how to get Mark fired from his job. And so we worked hard on doing that as well. But so this is kind of how it happened. So Rick and Larkin knew Mark. They signed up Mark. And Mark knew this guy named John McClellan. Is John with us? I know he was here a couple days ago. Is John here someplace? No? Okay, I thought he was here a day or so ago. John had just sold his medical device company for like $5 or $6 million, and he was retired looking for something to do. Guys, when you find a locker, it's like birds of a feather flock together. It's like successful people know motivated, successful people who know motivated, successful people. It's like you find these people kind of in groups, you know? And I went down and spent all my time with these 4 people. A lot of it with John McClellan. A lot of it with Palmer's and Malone, and a little bit with Mark. But, you know, he was busy selling stuff, so more with Jerry, right? And so we did this for a while. And so that locker showed up right there on my 5th generation. And this is where it started to happen. The first month, Scott and I worked like crazy people in August. His check was $365. He's starving. His wife cried. His wife said, "Don't do this to our family. Scott, please get a job. We can't do this. We don't have the money to do this." Scott, he just knew he had to do it. He knew this was his calling or something, and he was going to do it. Next month, he's in his 2nd month of qualification. We've got big meetings. Things are going good. He and I are on the phone like nonstop three-way calls. I remember one Saturday, it was literally 12 hours of three-way calls, he and I, one Saturday. My ear was so sore, I laid it on the pillow and I was like, ouch! My whole ear was bruised from the phone and trying to prop the phone up all day. That was before we had cell phones and like earbuds, okay? Yeah, and so this is what happened. Scott like sold his family piano. He sold his furniture. He sold his kids' beds so he could make money to pay bills to get to executive. He became an executive the 3rd month. His check was $6,600, his first executive check. His wife said, "I love this business. This is amazing." Right? And so they started, really going, really doing great things. Well, here's the thing about LOIs. Scott Malone LOI'd, and so we called Wilford and said, "Wilford, you need to place your LOI." First month, this is August, right? And Wilford goes, "What's an LOI?" We said, "Well, you got to recruit some people and you got to do some personal volume, and then Scott's already done all your group volume, so just get your LOI in, right?" So he goes, "I'll do it." So he calls Danny. He says, "Son, this is your father speaking. You need to place your LOI." Danny goes, "What's an LOI?" So Danny does it, right? So Bob Creech does it. Paula does it. And we got that done because the one on the bottom did all the volume, right? First month, the one on the bottom can produce all the volume and everybody can do their LOI based on that one volume on the bottom. That's the first month, right? What's the volume difference of driving a line like this and getting an LOI down deep and getting all those upper level LOIs? What's the difference the 2nd month? The 2nd month, it's encumbered volume. The 2nd month, every one of those LOIs has to do their own volume, right? And the 2nd month number is how much? 1,500. Everybody still awake? Are you sure? Okay. So it's 1,500. So then you've got 1,500, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500 if they all do it, right? You got 7,500 in volume instead of 1,000. I could go out and I could work wide, you guys. I could work wide and do the same thing instead of going deep. I could go out and maybe get 4 or 5 people, maybe get them to LOI. But it's easier to get bigger numbers of LOIs if you drive a line and secure a deep LOI because everybody will LOI. Because they all think, hey, it's all happening underneath me. Remember one thing, the fear of loss is a much greater motivator than the prospect of gain. Write that down. The fear of loss is a much greater motivator than the prospect of gain. When somebody is sitting between, like somebody down here that's a locker that's going crazy and they're upline, they feel like they've already got something. They got something they can lose if they don't keep pace and keep going, right? It's the fear of loss in that situation. If you just go wide, there's no fear of loss. They haven't created anything yet. There's nothing underneath them that's motivating them. Does that make sense? That's why you do this if you can, right? You learn how to do this and drive it deep. Okay, the 2nd month, you're going to have 5 times the volume or 4 times the volume. So what's the rule? Write down this rule, guys. This is something you may have never heard. The number of the level of the locker is the volume multiplier. So if I find my locker on level 4, the 2nd month I can multiply my volume 4 times. If I find the locker on level 5, I can multiply that group volume 5 times. If I find it on level 6, I can multiply the volume 6 times. Okay, that's a general rule. Now, sometimes not everybody follows through the 2nd month, and that's okay. So you're still going to get a multiplication factor out of the volume. Does that make sense? It's a finer point of the comp plan that you have to understand, right? And so Richmond was already an executive. Remember this, guys. That's the volume the 1st month would just be 1,000. It doesn't have to be all those thousands, right? But the 2nd month, it would be like 5,000 in that case. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Hey, can you guys backstage just advance that to the end of that slide? I don't have to go through all these again. You guys go to the next slide. Okay, well, There they go. I think we're getting to the next one. All right. Am I active again? Okay. Let's just do this. Stay right there, guys. Let me do it. Remember I talked about this? Everybody knows 2,000 people? Okay, so in this case right here, look at John McClellan. So on John's case, I went through 14,000 people, potential universe, and John McClellan showed up. And John McClellan has been unbelievable, right? John's recruited tons of great people, not the least of which are Sean and Sherry Brady and many others in John McClellan's team. Okay? And I want to just look at the top 20. And if I can do that, I have to only talk to 140 people out of 14,000. John McClellan became a team elite, okay? Mark Mabry had to do it. He became a team elite, right? Palmers became team elite. Malone became team elite. Wilford quit. He dropped out. It compressed up one level, okay? Danny became a team elite. Bob Creech quit, okay? Paula became a team elite. Richmond became a team elite. That's a power line right there. In closing, I just want to show you what I did my first 5 to 6 years. This is the line we just went through. Right there. Okay? 6 generations deep. Mike Greco, the guy that used to work in our real estate office with Jeff Mack and I, recruited Mike Greco, okay? John Greco, his brother, which many of you know. Anthony Antonelli, a management consultant in Washington, D.C., who we called in September, the day before the convention was starting in Salt Lake City, and said, cancel all your appointments and get on a plane tomorrow morning and get yourself to this convention. And he did it. And then he went to Florida for a week to watch a new Blue Diamond and see what he was doing. And he went home to his house and put a whiteboard on the wall, and he drew 12 boxes on the top of the whiteboard, and he became a Blue Diamond in 13 months. Okay? Who recruited Darlene Shearer, first Blue Diamond team elite in Canada. Okay? And then James Vent, and then other people under James, other Japanese lines that James had. Okay? Derek Winkle used to be a bellman at the Marriott Hotel in Salt Lake City. Okay? Tired of hauling bags. Recruited Derek. Derek went out and found Ken Belknap, who found the Shranians, who went out and found Peter and Carew Bannister, who signed up their friend Michiko Graf, who sponsored her cousin Katsumi Kaneko, who has made almost $100 million in commissions from this company. The biggest team in Japan. Okay? Who sponsored I sponsored Sandy Killen. I was flying to Phoenix to do meetings with Mabry's and everybody else, and this was a guy who was in one of the other 2 companies I joined before New Skin that went bankrupt. And he had a bunch of health clubs. And I called him up and said, Sandy, we got to meet. I'm going to be in town tomorrow. So let's go to lunch. He goes, nope. I said, what do you mean, nope? I said, you got to eat lunch anyway. He goes, yep, but not with you. I thought, oh, I didn't know you liked me so much. I said, well, how about I go to lunch with your wife? He thought that was really funny. I knew her as well, so I actually called his wife, and she felt so bad that he was mean to me that she met me she wouldn't meet for lunch. She goes, I'll meet you at a gas station. I met her at a gas station in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I gave her a videotape we were using at the time to recruit people called Catching the Wave. She took that home and gave it to Sandy, and a year went by, 1 year. I'm in my office late one night. It's almost 11 o'clock. I get a phone call from Phoenix, Arizona. It's Sandy Killen on the phone. Because, yeah, I'm just up here. My daughter's got colic, my baby daughter. I'm just up here feeding her a bottle, trying to burp her and get her to sleep. And I had nothing else to do, so I watched that Catching the Wave tape you gave my wife. He goes, I think I want to do your business. Okay? Who knows where they come from, right? You just got to be out there contacting people. Sandy went out and recruited a person who quit, who recruited Shumi Rue. Shumi here? She in the room? Where is she? Stand up, Shumi. There she is, right there. And Shumi went out and became a team elite. And is, what are you, Shumi? 5 million, 10 million circle? I don't even know what you are. Almost 10 million, okay? Okay, and Shumi used to be an interpreter. That's what she would do professionally. And she interpreted for me, and she's a big reason a lot of what happened in Japan happened, and we thank Shumi all the time for that, okay? She recruited a guy named Fumi, who recruited these guys, and these guys, and these guys, okay? Team elites, all down the line. My brother-in-law, Blake Tillotson, great guy, engineer, doesn't like to talk to people that much, okay? But he did talk to one phenomenal person called Jeff Mack. And Jeff recruited some people, who 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 all quit. And they recruited somebody called Brent Bryson, who rolled up 6 levels underneath Jeff to Jeff's front line. That's why compression's really important. And Brent recruited a guy named John Himmeron, and John is here somewhere, I think, okay? One of the most amazing team elites we have, right? Who recruited Trent and G, who recruited Yo and Yin, and these guys have just built a dynasty in Thailand, right? That was my first push in the business. What does this tell you guys? What does this mean? This is not luck. You can't do that being that lucky that many times, can you? Okay, a lot of people think network marketing is just luck. It's like you just throw as many against the wall as you can, and hey, maybe one of them will be a team elite, you know? And I think that's what happens for most team elites in our company. They just don't understand the stuff I just taught you guys, and they throw it against the wall, and lucky they're willing to recruit 300, 400, 500 people, and out of that, you're probably going to find one power line. And that's what happens. And that's why the average Blue Diamond income's around $42,000 a month, because they have one power line. Okay? What I'm here to tell you today is that there's no guesswork to it. It's not a lottery. It's not just if you get lucky. This is a business. And if you want to be willing to put in the effort and learn the principles of driving lines and understand the pressure points in this compensation plan and how to use them for your and everybody else's benefit in your team, then you can literally manufacture power lines. You can create one after another, after another, after another, after another. You can make as many as you want to make. And this is like locked in money. Please put the slide back up. It's like permanent type income, guys. Do you think those lines will ever go away? Do you have any idea how many Blue Diamonds are underneath Kaneko in Japan and elsewhere? China, Vietnam, wherever his groups have gone? I know there's executives at least 50 generations deep under Kaneko. At least. Do you understand what has to happen for me to lose any money out of my commission check? It would have to erode and 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 erode for decades before it ever would eat into my volumes. That's called a massive insurance policy down there. I don't get paid on it, but it guarantees that income in my 6 generations. Do you understand that? You want to see the second wave? All right, we sponsored people with the scanner. D. McCormick, there he is, right there, okay? One of the great ones right there, who sponsored Lawn Wardrobe. That's right, I'll eat your lunch and I'll mow your lawn from Lawn Wardrobe, right? Okay? Who sponsored Paige Riffle. There she is, right there, Paige Riffle. Who sponsored Peggy DeRitter, sorry, and Peggy too. And Gary sitting right there, and Ed sitting right there. Raise your hands, guys, all the DeRitters. You're a DeRitter too, Britta, come on. There she is. Okay, who recruited Jan Anderson, who recruited Roz Hobbs, who's sitting right here. Okay? Okay, and there's other legs. We could talk about others in the same organization under Dan McCormick, okay? Multiple power lines. Sponsored another person named Steve Campbell, who sponsored the Downings, who sponsored a new person that I'm working with right now, building a line. And this one, we'll see what comes out of this one, okay? And that one's been there for a little while, but has not matured yet. Sponsored a family member called Jed Knight. Everybody knows Jed? Who sponsored a guy named Charlie Patterson? Right? Who sponsored a guy named Derek Tillotson? Who sponsored Jeff and Diana Zisselman, sitting right here on the front row? Who sponsored Judith Balasai and Agnes Nagai. How do we say her name? Nagai? Naj. There we go. And that has become a power line. And there's other lines in there. We could easily put Casey Council and her whole team, you know, on this chart underneath Charlie Patterson as well, right? And then another one named Kenton Worthington, who sponsored Otto Bela, who sponsored Nandi, his brother, Marika and Latsi, Adolf Kosa, and Razvan and Andrea Spiridon. Team elites all the way down the line, okay? Greg Kageyama, another name you guys don't even know, but one of my Japanese groups, Segusa-san, and then Kanamori, and Masami, who you might know Masami Light, the Japanese team elites down that line. That was the second wave. $20,000 to $40,000 a month. Can you manufacture power lines once you understand how to do it? Yeah, you can. Okay? What am I doing now? Well, there's a new wave. Social selling, right? I got this guy named Tommy Johnson. There he is, right there. All right? And he's got a person named Kate Williams, right there. These guys aren't team elites yet, but I'm counting on it. Your name's on the screen, guys. Kate, don't let me down. Okay? Liz Bowers, who you heard from a couple of times here on stage yesterday and today, right? And she's got another one named Angela sitting right there, okay? And we don't know who's going to be under Angela, but it'll be somebody. So you guys, don't disappoint me. Okay? And then we got another one, Jenny Smith. Jenny actually signed up like 8 years ago, but Jenny could never see herself actually doing this until social selling. And so now we have Jenny, and we have Rebecca, and we've got multiple others that are sitting in this room, and we will see what happens with some of you and who you are, and if you guys have what it takes to grab the brass ring and make it happen in a big way. So the rest of it we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? I'm just here to try to give you the point of this is that you can make as many of these as you want to. It's all about finding those lockers, driving that line, creating a fear of loss, helping people to understand the pressure points in the compensation plan, and you can literally create as much income as you want to create, okay? So hopefully this has been if you had no debt, you had $1 million cash in the bank, you could do whatever you wanted to do. What would that be like? Most people never know. They pay on stuff forever. They always have more month left at the end of the money. They don't ever get ahead of it, right? It's never going to happen in a job. You guys don't want to do this? You can quit. I got a question for you. What are you going to go back to? What are you going to go back to? A job? Trade your life away? Rent your brain and body to some company for nothing and have, start over at zero every January 1st? Try to pump up and try to make more than you made the last year, starting from zero all the time? You're going to go back to some crazy business that is high risk and painful employees and all the stuff that happens? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What other opportunity are you going to find? You're never going to find one like this anywhere. Okay, so be serious about it. What would it be like to have consistent cash flow, right? Right? What would that be like to have that all the time? Okay, what about investing with additional cash flow? What if you had enough money that you could actually invest? You could put it in safe things that would create additional cash of coming back into your bank account, right? What if you had the ability to create real memories? To take your kids places, do things that you want to do to create memories for them. What if you had the ability to provide that kind of a lifestyle, or maybe that kind of an education, or those kinds of schools, or those kinds of opportunities? What if you could do that, right? What if you could help others escape the rat race? You might be a really good rat. You might be the best rat. You might be the CEO. You might be the head rat, but you're still a rat. Because you still got to show up every day. And if you stop showing up, then you're not going to get paid. Okay? So that's it. Here's a little glimpse of our life, just so you can see what this has all meant to us. I mean, New Skin has been amazing. I think I just went 2 slides. I go 2 or 1? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we love going to the beach. It's a phenomenal place. We like creating memories down there. My wife and I there in the next picture. Blake Tillotson Jr. right there with Michael Hatch and a few others. That was a fun trip. Went down to the Success Summit in Cancun. There's my grandson in the Razor with me at the ranch. Yep, when I go to the ranch, I don't even shave. I'm just like, forget it all. Shut the phone off. This is my decompression zone, right? Success Summits all over the world, core teams, parties on the beach at Success Summits. I mean, Team Elite trip, we just went to the Real game in Barcelona last month, right? Love riding horses, love hanging out. Those are 2 of my grandsons taking their first airplane ride. So just a blast, That was like going down to a meeting, Terry Chu's meeting actually, in San Diego, That was on the tarmac at San Jose Airport right there. Terry, I think, or Ben. Probably Ben took that picture. Thanks, Ben. So, you know, that's what you do. I drop them off. I go work. What do? They go to Sausalito in San Francisco and shop. We all meet back up after, and we all go home. It's pretty fun. Go to dinner and go home. Anyway, it's a great life, you guys. I just want you to get it. I want you to understand in your gut, okay? I want it to get into your heart that you are in front of something really special here. This is not possible in any other network marketing company. It's not possible anyplace else that I know of, okay? It's really special. This is special. One Team Global is special. This is an amazing organization of people that care, that volunteer, that want to help each other. You're not in this alone. Everybody's here to pull together, to help, to make it better in every way that we can make it better, okay? Every one of you are amazing people. Literally, it's been my pleasure to get to know each one of you. I mean, I literally wish I had more time to get to know all of you better, but all of you that have spent time, we've done meetings, we've been in your countries, we've done these things all over the world. I love you guys, and it's just an amazing group to be part of, and I'm just so happy that we've had such a phenomenal Social Success Summit. Okay, last thing. We're selling tickets for the next one, guys, of course. What would you expect from us? Anything less? No. It's next June. It's a ways away. The prices are $375 for 5 tickets and $99 for 1, okay? That price is going to go up $25 per ticket next Friday, okay? And I'm going to announce it on the Friday Generals Ask Anything question Facebook Live next Friday, okay? So we'll have one more shot. I'm encouraging you to make a commitment now. If you feel like this has been worth it for you to be here this weekend, that you really extracted a lot of value out of this, okay, then you need to make a commitment to do it. And if you put your money on the line, then you're going to look at it differently. You're going to be focused and committed to getting people to that event. So I'm asking you to commit and do what you got to do for yourself anyway, okay? They're going to go up $25 next Friday at midnight. So buy tickets for next time. Many of you have already done that. Thank you. You've already made that commitment. We're so excited. We have Team Elite University, third weekend in August. We'll be right across the street at the Innovation Center. We've heard many people say they're already coming back. If you have that occasion and you make those commitments, you should use those every single month. You'll see a new curriculum from here on out at Team Elite University. It'll be more social selling focused, and we're going to make sure your people get exactly what they need at those events as you guys bring them and leverage what we're doing every single month. Thank you so much for being here, guys. You're awesome. Have a great weekend. Travel safe.
I'm telling you, this thing can change lives. Do you want to change lives? The best thing to grow, the best thing to do for your team, for your people, is your business, is bring them to the event. The system is one of them. Give us for free.
If you are not going to do what you need to do today, you are not going to get what you want tomorrow.
The first event is for you. Any other event you go to is for your team. Whether you have one person attending or 200 people attending, you're going to the team.
Stop listening to other people affecting your confidence. Start listening to people pretending each time.
You're not building your dream, you're selling someone else's dream. You are your business call. You are your third call. Just check out and say those are things that are doable if you do it. Not if you do it. We can do it. You can do it.
How do you want it? How do you want it? See it all. See it dream. We have to look at yourself.
You have already purchased your tickets. You're sitting there with your smartphone, hop online and bring your tickets. They're at a discount while you're here at this event. What you do today is whatever you want. When you make a commitment, when you decide to do this, when you do those things today, you pay a price and you make a sacrifice today, so that tomorrow you can do whatever.